It's the World Series. I can't believe I'm saying the words World Series, and we're on the air, and we'll be right back.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, where you are. We hope it is good. Welcome to another edition of Geeks Who Like Sports. As always, I am Ray Carcillo in beautiful Los Angeles, California. Joined my best friend in the entire world over in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Lee Elias. Lee, how are you doing today?
Ray, I'm having one of those 40-year-old moments today, right? Because I went to physical therapy this morning for my tremendously destroyed shoulder. And so naturally, after PT, my shoulder hurts. So being an efficient, practical 40-year-old, I was running some errands and I saw the Rite Aid and I said, oh, my shoulder hurts. Now would be a great time to get a flu shot because it can't hurt any worse. And I was right. The flu shot didn't hurt at all because the pain in the shoulder was already there. But now I'm feeling a little loopy and I have shoulder pain, but it was already the original shoulder pain. So I thought now would be a great time to record this podcast because my head's kind of swimming. The lights in the room are really bright for some reason, right? I'm feeling a little skibbity right now, buddy. That's for our younger audience. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you're our age.
Skibbity toilet. Yeah.
Skibbity.
I've had a similar middle-aged morning as well. Just for me, it was mental, not physical.
Early middle-aged.
Yes. I'm 39, at least for 6 more months. And I had a mental breakdown this morning, which was great. It just completely, it was more last night because I was tired and I forgot like three things. And then like I literally woke up like the Undertaker. I popped up and then I'm like, oh my God, I gotta do this before we do the podcast. And I was like,
So you're all in for a show today.
Oh yeah. We are.
We are best intro ever.
We are.
If I start drooling halfway through and not making sense, just give me some sort of cut signal and I'll know that we need to move on to something else.
Yeah, we'll edit it or something. But folks, we do have a really good show for you though today. We have a lot of we have some video game news. Obviously, we're going to talk about Agatha. We got a lot of sports stuff. It is Geeks Who Like Sports, but we are going to kick things off today with some baseball.
Come again? Baseball?
Baseball.
Oh boy! How does that crow taste? Is it delicious? It must be.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic, folks. I say it all the time. I am so happy when I am wrong about my teams and they do better than I expect. The Yankees are back in the World Series for the first time in 15 years. And folks, it is the matchup of a lifetime, quite literally. This is 10% of baseball history in the World Series has been Yankees-Dodgers. And we have, for the first time since 1981, the most recent addition to that, Shohei and Mookie versus Judge and Soto. It is just star-studded. This should be the most watched World Series in at least 30 years.
Easily.
In my opinion. I think this
The last one being another Yankees one.
Mets,
probably.
Yeah, I would say probably Yankees-Mets were probably high up there. I think Yankees-Phillies was also probably high up there. Yeah, very densely packed metropolitan areas. Not last year with Arizona and Texas. Although they didn't have bad numbers, but it's just it's the two largest markets. It is the crux of baseball history. The Dodgers, of course, beat the Mets in 6. The Yankees beat Cleveland in 5. Both teams look primed and ready to go. Both teams with similar weaknesses and strengths. Both teams with injured first baseman. Yankees good starting pitching. The Dodgers a good bullpen. Obviously, I mentioned again Shohei and Mookie kind of offset Soto and Judge. Who's going to step up? Who's going to be the hero? Lee, it's the World Series.
I thought you appreciated my intro with that.
I thought it was great. I thought it was fantastic. What do you think? First off, let's really quickly break down the championship series, and then we'll get into our predictions. But what did you think? I'm not surprised that both the Yankees and Dodgers beat the Guardians and Mets. What were your thoughts on these two series before we head into the World Series?
Yeah, Yankees Guardians was a great series. It was a magical series. A lot of amazing moments. Yeah, that was a fun series to watch. I mean, the Dodgers Mets series and Mets fans, I promise I'm not picking on you, but they were just toying with you. They were just poking you a little bit.
Every game was a blowout.
Look, they were toying with you. The Mets are who we thought they were, and I don't mean that as an insult, believe it or not. It's you guys got super duper hot, but you ran into the best team in the NL, and no one was stopping them this year. And so it is what it is. Like, look, I'm still a little bitter about the Phillies, but they didn't show up. They didn't show up, and the Dodgers did. And that's the situation. I'm not sure the way the Dodgers are playing, anyone could stop them right now. In terms of the National League, Ray. So this is a marquee matchup. You dream of matchups like this. As you said, there's so much history here. I do want to do one little shot at the Mets fans. So, Ray's been very critical of his Yankees all year. By the way, if you're listening to the show, make sure you go listen to Ray's State of the Yankees on TikTok. They're excellent. But you see how he talked about 10% of World Series and, this is a marquee matchup and these two teams. You see how there's that history there? And he's like, I'm eating the crow. He can do that. That's how it's done. All right. By the way, Mets fans right now, and this is what bothers me, right?
Yeah.
Silent. Completely silent. Have not heard from any of them.
Tail between their legs.
We still talk about the Phillies in Philadelphia. Yeah. Even with the Eagles, which we'll get to, and everything going on, we still talk about the Phillies. We're all disappointed. Yeah. Where the hell did the Mets fans go? Where are you? This is my problem with you.
Yes.
It was a great, great season for you, a great postseason. Yeah. I think you and I could even say you guys as a team should be proud of what you accomplished here.
They overachieved it by every metric. They proved a lot of folks wrong. I mean, maybe they're embarrassed that they spent the last 3 months as a big promotional product for McDonald's with Grimace and all that other stuff. But
well, that got trumped this week as well. But I'm going to say it again. I had to do that. That was standing there for me. Listen, Mets fans, where are you? You should be celebrating that team right now for what they've just done. And you're gone. Yeah, I don't understand.
There's a couple of Mets fans, but they've basically tucked their tail between their legs and they ran away because they got.
This is the inferiority complex. You don't have to do that. I have every right to be disappointed with my ball club right now as a fan. We underachieved. You went beyond overachieving, and you're gone. Yeah. This is my problem with you.
Yeah,
you weren't there at the beginning of the season. You're not there now.
Same old Mets.
Fans.
So, yeah.
Let's not talk about the team. The team, you should be. Yeah. It was a great season. If you're not looking forward to next season as a Mets fan, you're crazy right now.
Sure. Look, they're a couple pieces away. And honestly,
it's all right in front of them, Ray.
It's all right. I mean, we are going to have. I'm sure there'll be World Series. If we win win the World Series,
be amazing.
It will be amazing. I will be thrilled.
How excited are you? Scale 1 to 10. I mean, all the World Series you've seen. How excited are you for this one?
This is a 10. I was telling people, I know this, by the way, a lot of Mets fans were ragging me like, you don't want Yankees Mets? No, I don't. I've seen that in my life. I don't want Yankees Mets. I want Yankees-Dodgers.
The only people that want Yankees Mets are Mets fans. That's it. Okay. Yeah. Because Yankees-Dodgers is that would be like saying, do you want Lakers and Clippers? Even though it's not possible, that's what you're saying.
It's like, do you want Lakers and Timberwolves versus Lakers and Celtics?
Boston, this is again the inferiority complex. Mets, you are not the Yankees. You're never gonna be the Yankees, and that's okay. It's okay, but not to you because of your inferiority complex. It's not a question.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, and it's like I even talk to people and they're like, "Well, why aren't you ragging?" Like, I mean, we're ragging on Mets fans right now and the Mets right now, but like, I'm like, why aren't you
they're
like
not
doing?
Listening. Well, they're not here. They're gone.
Well, and that's the thing, but it's like it's also like, why aren't you like laughing at the Mets fans more when they lost? And I'm like, because I don't care about the Mets. I'm a Yankees fan.
I'll end it on the Mets here. Derek Jeter said it best, and this was the biggest clapback I've ever seen in my life. But it's so true. It's painful, Mets. It's painful. But they had asked him in that documentary about the captain, like, the big Mets rivalry, the big Mets games. And he comes out and goes, I'm not going to lie to you. It's just the Mets.
Yep.
They're just the Mets. Like, they're not team. The Yankees. It's not. They're just another team. And he's correct.
Yes.
He is correct.
Yes. It's that simple.
Okay, so let's get on to the World
Series. Yeah,
I'm not going to lie to you. I'm excited about this now.
Yeah.
Ray, I'll tell you what. I sat at home today thinking about who do I want to win this World Series? Because this is it's not as easy for me as you would think.
Sure.
Right? Because like I like Shohei Ohtani. All right. And he's the best player in baseball. he deserves it. But there's a problem for Shohei. And Shohei listens to this show, so I'm sorry, Shohei. But I like my buddy Ray here more than you. So I think I gotta pull for the Yankees here because I've got many friends that are Yankees fans, as unbearable as you guys can be. And then the other thing too is that I really want Aaron Judge to win a World Series too. And I have no doubt that Shohei Ohtani will be back. I don't think the Yankees are in a window per se. I think that they're in the World Series. That's basically,
Yeah, I mean, look, the Yankees have, it's what they've been the last few years, right? Which is where they have the pieces to be good, and if everything kind of clicks at the right time, they can make a run. But look, the objective in the offseason is going to be re-sign Soto, but there's a really good chance. I mean, Rizzo's not going to come back. I said this in my State of the Yankees, that Rizzo's not going to come back. Glaber's probably not going to come back. Like, this is going to be a different team next year.
Yeah. And to that point, like I said, this is your window. It doesn't mean the Yankees are going to be bad or anything like that next year. But
no,
Shohei's
they'll still probably be a playoff team next year. But I don't know. Again,
well,
I don't want to think about next year.
Exactly. But that's my point too. But Ohtani's only going to get better. Like, he's not going to get worse.
This Dodger team is built for the long haul.
Right.
They traded for Tommy Edman, who's under team control for multiple years. That the Yankees did the same thing with Jazz Chisholm, obviously. Like, look, there are pieces in place there for both of these teams to keep winning. But I do think that the Dodgers are better built because you might remember the Dodgers are also banged up. Dustin May, Tyler Glass now. Half their starting rotation is hurt now.
They earned their way into the World Series just like
and
you
they
did.
Still made it to the World Series. The Dodgers are better built for the long term. But that said, I am picking Yankees in 7.
Wow.
I'm picking Yankees in 7.
No, that's pretty amazing. And look, I will say this, that 7 games would be the best possible scenario for baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, Ray, where again, I think I'm pulling for the Yankees because of you and our other friend Ray. And I like that Yankees team. There's a lot of players. Now, I got to ask this again. How many World Series have you witnessed in your life? Like, actually watched, not ones you don't remember. Is this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6?
With the Yankees?
Yeah,
with the Yankees,
this year's
96, 98, 96, 98, 99, 2000, 2001, 2003, 2009. This is the 8th World Series.
Wow, I was
in my lifetime.
You jerk. Anyway, so 8th.
Yeah.
You remember all of them. I'm going to ask you this again because you just said 10. Where does this rank in terms of excitement? Keep like again, if you had to rank 1 through 8, where is this one ranking now in terms of excitement? And you got to try and think about yourself as a young kid here too.
Well, I was about to say, I'm like, the only one that might be higher is 96 because that was the first one.
Yeah.
And I was 11, right? And I was 11, right? So, like,
that was the first in your lifetime too, right? Like,
that's what I'm saying. The first of my lifetime. Yeah. Like, the Yankees had, when they went in 96, the Yankees hadn't been to the World Series since 81, which they lost to the Dodgers in 6 games. And that was a magical season because they had John Wetland for the year. It was Jeter's rookie year. Andy Pettitte was coming into his own. There was so much about that team to love as well. Jim Larratt's, of course, the big 3-run home run in Game 4. Like,
it was a magical year. So I can see why this one's kind of like that a little bit. It's a different team. This isn't like the old Yankees that we knew.
Yeah, and it was still fun, right? In weird ways, 98. There was so much pressure to win because that was the record-setting team with 114 wins in the regular season. Still the only team total between playoffs and regular season that have 125 wins. There was so much pressure to win that World Series that it wasn't as fun.
Right.
And same thing against the Mets, mostly because Mets fans are unbearable. It wasn't fun. It's like, but like again, like you just said, you're just the Mets, but we also Yankee fans felt it like we wanted to beat you. Obviously, to win the World Series, cement our dynasty. That was the 3rd in a row.
Yeah, that was a good series because that was like the Mets of that era, right?
Sure. And we beat them in 5. We gave them a game, right?
Bernie Williams was on that 96 team too, if I'm not mistaken.
Bernie was in center field. Paul O'Neill in right.
Yeah.
You had Cecil Fielder and Tino Martinez platooning at first base. Cecil was kind of more of a DH a lot of the time, but. You had Wade Boggs and Charlie Hayes at 3rd, Mariano Duncan at 2nd. You had Girardi behind the plate. Girardi hustling for that triple in Game 6 in the Bronx. Like, that was like, that'll be seared into my mind forever, right? Like, which also is, by the way, makes me, this is why part of the reason why it makes me so sick how dirty the Yankees did Girardi as manager, who, by the way, very few guys, I think he's like only one of 3 guys as I think it was Hank Bauer and Billy Martin to not only win a World Series as a player with the Yankees, but then win one as a manager. And they did him very dirty after 2017. And I will not forgive Brian Cashman for that. But this is going to be a great series. This is history. This is all the marquee players in baseball. This is great for the game. It starts in LA on Friday. I've already told all my friends, because Friday in LA is gonna be crazy. Stay away from that area, because there's a concert at the Intuit Dome. I think the Lakers, it's their home opener at Crypto. I think the USC is playing, and the Dodgers and Yankees are all going on at the exact same time. So if you care about your life, do not drive in LA on Friday night.
Yeah.
Do not do it. Stay home.
Take a train.
Unless you have $1,000 to buy on World Series tickets, which if you do,
it's so much more than $1,000, right?
Those are the cheapest tickets.
That I don't even think it's that low. They
said that the cheapest. I think the cheapest ticket for Game 1 is like $1,005.
Wow, and that's off the secondary market. It's like at the gate.
I think that's like I don't know if that's the secondary.
I can tell you right now, I've been to a World Series game. It was more than that. But I got to see a no-hitter.
Yeah. But no, I'm taking Yankees in 7. Yankees are the best road team in baseball actually this year. So them having to go to LA for possibly 4 games doesn't concern me.
Yeah,
in fact, anything, the warm weather, I think, will help the Yankees.
I will echo your prediction just as to kind of stand by your side, but this should go 7. I mean, it should. Yeah. But we'll see.
I hope the Yankees sweep just because it'll be better for my heart.
Well, here's the deal, too, is like the Dodgers. I mean, Shohei has no World Series experience, so we're going to see what happens here. This will be very interesting.
But Shohei having a fascinating playoff. Shohei hitting terribly with nobody on base and hitting amazingly with runners on base. So keeping the base paths clean is going to be a priority. Freddie Freeman is still banged up for the Dodgers with that sprained ankle. He's having trouble playing. But Anthony Rizzo's still playing with a broken hand. Yankees getting Nestor Cortez back for the bullpen. Yankee bullpen, aside from Luke Weaver and Tim Hill, Mr. Rubber Arm Tim Hill, literally pitching every game of the ALCS. It's going to be fascinating. It's who's going to step up. It's going to be. I don't think it's going to be one of the non-marquee players.
Yeah, probably right.
Has to step up.
You're probably right.
Alex Verdugo, who was a Dodger, now with the Yankees, right?
I'm gonna call it. Keep your eyes on Gleyber Torres.
I hope you're right. If Gleyber has a massive World Series,
I'm calling it right now. Actually, Gleyber Torres is the guy to watch. I have a feeling.
I mean, he's playing, picking the best time to wake up and play for that free agent contract.
That's why I think he's going to wake up. I'm picking him right now.
Yeah, him and Soto playing for
Soto. I expect
of money.
to do well. Yeah, but Gleyber I think is going to be there.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm very, very excited. I'm happy. We're happy to be there, but now we have to win it all. 4 to go. Yeah, 7 down, 4 to go. We beat the Royals in 4. We beat Cleveland in 5. And also, credit to Cleveland, but also there's a lot of Cleveland fans chirping. Also, I need to mention this about the payroll. The Cleveland owner, who I don't even know who he is, nor do I care, is a billionaire that is worth more than Hal Steinbrenner. In fact, he's worth $1 billion more than Hal Steinbrenner. And so I will say this to every small market team again. Your owners are just as rich as my owner. They just refuse to spend. That's not our fault. Okay? I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. Pittsburgh, the guy who owns Pittsburgh, just as rich. The guy who owns Kansas City, just as rich. Patrick Mahomes now owns a chunk of the Royals. He was real happy when you were up in Game 3 and then you blew it. Hey, Patrick, how about you take some of that $500 million and invest back into the team? Like, I know he's a minority owner, but the point is that, like, and look, I agree that baseball should have had a salary floor and a salary cap. I agree with this. And now it's too late because the owners will never agree to it. But the Yankees and Dodgers are doing. You all have the ability to do this, and you all have the money to do this. It's not to say it's like, oh, well, we're a small market. Yes, but your owners are all billionaires with a B, right? You see what the guy down in Baltimore, the new owner in Baltimore is plans on spending because he's like, oh, I'm a billionaire. So get off it, Cleveland. Okay.
Well, I will say this in contention that while I agree with you that they can spend the money, spend money to make money, and some of those small market teams will not make the money back. So it's a bad investment from just a financial standpoint. But if you want to win enough, you will do it. The Yankees have always shown that. The Dodgers have always shown that. So I don't think it's fair to say that a small market team can do this. Maybe. All right. It's one thing when it's coming out of their pocket, and billionaires tend to not make stupid money decisions. That's why they're billionaires. But with the Yankees brand, makes that money back.
Sure.
All right. Kansas City will never do that. Sure, there's aspects of what you're saying that I agree with. There's also aspects of it I understand why the Oakland A's never spent money, right? Because they're not going to make. There's no money back.
Owner in sports.
They do, but I'm going to say it again that there's no ROI on some of these situations. The Yankees have an ROI. They're going to make money. If they spend $1 billion, they're going to make 20.
The thing is, right? The thing is that like with how profitable these teams are, though,
a
lot of these guys could still spend more and still make a profit.
I don't disagree that if they want to win, they have the option to do that.
Yeah.
But it's also a business. The Marlins are the greatest example of this in sports, of how they were able to make money by just spending nothing. Right. So again, is that a recipe for winning? I mean, they're a unique example because they did win, right? A couple times. Yeah. So it depends. But here's the thing. The Marlins are the Marlins are also in, they're not doing well, right? So it's not a long-term recipe for success. No. And if you want to win, if you put the money in, you'll make money. All right. The Phillies do it. Phillies pay for it.
Yep.
Right. So, but with that said, that doesn't mean a small market, low income team can't win the World Series. It's less than likely.
I mean, look, we've seen, you look at the last decade of baseball, good baseball will always trump the salary. And look, and on paper, Cleveland had a great team. You had Jose Ramirez. You had the best closer in baseball. It's just that the Yankees, for whatever reason, figured him out, right? Emmanuel Clase gave up 5 runs the whole year. He gave up 8 to the Yankees in 5 games.
Yeah, no trash cans banging or anything.
No, exactly, because we were in Cleveland. It just, they had him figured out. I don't know if it was a tell. I don't know if it's just that they've seen him enough over the last couple of years.
Right, just didn't have confidence. There's a lot of reasons why it might happen.
And then there's some guys who just can't do it in the playoffs. Like sometimes just jokes. It happens. But Cleveland's got a good ball club, and with good hitters and with great. I mean, again, them two, their starting rotation also banged up, but that was the best bullpen in baseball, and the Yankees won by beating up on the best bullpen in baseball. Like it just sometimes it is what it is. I mean, and too. And by the way, Aaron Judge homegrown, Gleyber Torres homegrown, because everybody loves to say the Yankees buy. You're like, no. We traded for Soto. We traded a lot of our homegrown pitchers for Soto. Volpe is homegrown. Austin Wells is homegrown.
Yeah, I don't view this Yankees team as what I would have seen them as at the 2009 team, where like that team was bought, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Outside Jeter,
all of it, Mark Teixeira.
Yeah, absolutely. They were bought, right? And it's like that was the evil empire Yankees. Like this doesn't feel like that. And I can say that
a lot of smart trades and homegrown talent.
Yeah, this does not feel like the bought. I'll be honest with you, the high paid bought Yankees won less than the teams that were not like that. Even though they were there every year, they didn't win as much as the teams that were homegrown, in my opinion. But this doesn't seem like the evil empire. This is like the new order, or what do they call it in the new the next
first order?
First order. This feels like the first order now. Homegrown, there's a crazy guy at the front with it all right in front of you.
Yeah.
Let this be remembered as the last day. No, sorry, I had to throw some geekdom into this, but Ray, it's all right in front of you. It's all right in front of you. And I think if they win, we got to get you that T-shirt. It's all right in front of us.
Yeah. But I mean, look, it's again, and that too. It's also again smart moves. Luke Weaver, our closer right now, was on the scrap heap. We signed him to a 2-year, $2 million a year deal in the offseason. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Anybody else in baseball could have given him that contract.
Anyone else could have had him. Right now, if you are a New York sports fan, you got Yankees, Knicks, Rangers, Liberty. Everyone's sitting high. But there's one team, Ray, that's not. We've got to talk about them today.
No, there's actually two. Both football teams suck. The Jets and the Giants.
I wasn't considering the Jets as part of the football conversation.
Yeah, no. We're going to move on to football now.
I wasn't even considering them in the conversation. But
yeah, no. But it's great. A great time for New York sports. All the hockey teams, all the basketball teams. Maybe not the Nets, but the Knicks for sure. The Rangers, Devils, the Islanders are all going to be competitive. The Yankees, obviously. The Mets had a great run. Giants and Jets seasons are over. I mean, we can save Eagles Giants if you want, or we can.
Let's lead with it. I think Giants fans should be embarrassed for that effort. This was an NFC East match.
Yeah, didn't show up.
They did not show up, and you allowed the guy that left to literally run all over you, and then have a heroic moment at the end of the game, choosing not to break his own record against you to give it to other guys. You want to talk about a punch in the gut? Not only did he leave you, but it looks like Ray, he's a tremendous human being, and he's in Philadelphia.
Oh, there's never a doubt that Saquon was a good guy.
I know. I'm just saying, like, the irony of that is unbelievable to me. A lot less Nick Sirianni talk this week, by the way, but they didn't show up, man. And now, if it's like it couldn't get worse, now they're talking about how all the hockey players that played in the outdoor games last year have scored more in MetLife Stadium than Daniel Jones has. I mean, it's
Daniel Jones.
Brutal.
I've been saying this for years.
It's brutal.
Saying this for years. Daniel Jones sucks. The team has given up on him.
Easily.
They benched him.
Yeah.
They benched him. Like Daniel Jones. Again, Daniel Jones. I'm not even going to get mad this week. Daniel Jones is bad.
Yeah.
He's bad.
And there's stats to support that claim.
And now Andrew Thomas, our franchise left tackle, is going to be out the rest of the year. Look, I said it after week 1. We'll win a few games, but the season's probably already over, and I think it is. I mean, I think we'll beat Carolina and Germany and maybe pick up another win here or there along the way, but expect another top 5 pick for the Giants. Get the quarterback that you need. Get Quinn Ewers. Get Carson Beck. Been talking about the draft basically since week 1 to tell you everything you need to know about the Giants. And again, I'll say it again. I don't think it's Dable's fault. I don't think it's the coaching staff's fault. In fact, I think the coaching staff has done everything they possibly can with just this lack of talent. And look, there are bright spots. There are bright spots on this defense. I think the secondary is coming around. I think the pass rush is coming around. Again, the offensive line is playing better until Thomas got hurt, playing better than it's played in the last 3 years. As long as Daniel Jones is your quarterback, this team doesn't believe it can win, and therefore it will not win. And Daniel Jones is a dumpster fire. End of story.
The end. Yeah. Other than that, it was pretty normal NFL week.
Really good games. I expected this. I said on a last-second field goal, though, the Lions barely beat the Vikings. They're now back in first place in the North. Look, the Vikings are a good team. They gave them everything they could. The Lions made a couple of self-inflicted mistakes. They fumbled it late, and that scoop and score gave Minnesota that late lead. But then this is a crazy fact. This is the first time this has happened in history. The Lions, over the last 4 games, have more touchdown passes from Jared Goff than incompletions. That's how good Jared Goff is playing right now. Again, folks, I said at the beginning of the year that the Lions are going to be one of the teams to beat. I'm going to say right now, if they keep playing like this, they are Lions-Chiefs. Book it. Right. Book it. Lions-Chiefs. Book it.
That'd be awesome, by the way. Yeah. That would be an awesome.
It would be phenomenal.
Yeah.
And by the way, the Chiefs also beat the Niners. The Niners, a lot of injuries this week. The Niners might be done.
Well, I'll tell you what. There was a report that came out that coach and quarterback were in the locker room. Coach was talking to the quarterback, and he just wasn't even responding. That's not. I mean, I don't like to read too much into things like that. You know, the press likes to do things, but that's not good.
No, and it looks like the team might. I don't know if it's. Is it Purdy or is it Shanahan? And you're going to have to choose. A lot of times teams will go with their quarterback over
They're going to go with the quarterback over the coach here, 100%. But, yeah, Shanahan does not look like he has that locker room under control. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, look, one win can turn that around.
Sure. But, I mean, look, here's the thing. It's a team that they had a lot of contract negotiation issues in the preseason. Are team guys going to get traded? Are they not going to get traded? It felt like there were a lot of distractions going into this season for the Niners after losing the Super Bowl last year. And it looks like all those distractions have kind of really torn this team apart in a lot of ways. The Packers last-second field goal as well beat the Texans. That was a great game up in Lambeau. You'll love to see some last-second field goals and whatnot. The Commanders destroy the Panthers. Jaden Daniels hurt, but looks like it's not a major injury from last I heard. He should be probably ready to go again next week, and the Commanders just rolled. And then speaking of quarterbacks who love, like, in the media blowing things out of proportions, we're at the Aaron Rodgers blaming the media for why the Jets are losing now phase of the season. The Jets get dismantled by the Steelers. By the way, I love Mike Tomlin because he benched Justin Fields and started Russell Wilson. And one of the reporters was like, "What? Wow, that was a ballsy move, but it really paid off for you guys to do that." And Tomlin simply responds like, "That's why I'm very well compensated." So I was like, he's the coach.
Yep,
he's the coach. Lee, what are your thoughts on? Real quick, we went through a few things. What are your thoughts on the Commanders? Are the Commanders the team to beat? Are you guys the team to beat in the East, or is it the Commanders right now?
Oh man, Ray, that's a tough question for this time of the season. I mean, when we play the Commanders, we'll know the answer to that question. I think that the thing with the Commanders is this: they are good. They are good enough. Mm-hmm. The question is, do they have the endurance to do the full season? Right. I know the Eagles do. Right. Yeah. Especially after last season, they're unlikely to collapse the last 5 games of the season again. The Commanders, we'll see. Right. So that game's coming up. It's not too far away. I mean, they play each other in December. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking forward to that. But I'll tell you right now that it looks like the Eagles and the Commanders are going to start running away with that division here. Cowboys' next game is massive, just massive. Right. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, the Commanders are for real as of this moment. I'm not trying to shy away from that. I mean, they look great. They're playing fundamental football. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with the top talent in the league, though. The Eagles, again, are awake. All right. They showed up to play on Sunday. All right. This was a lot different than the Browns game the week before for the Eagles. They showed up to play an NFC East rivalry matchup, and the other team didn't. Again, I'm not trying to bring that up again. I'm just saying, Eagles' next game is pretty important now, right? Again, I'm still interested. I would love to talk to Nick Sirianni and find out if my assumption is correct, that he's trying to put all of it on him, because I can see it. That we're not talking about Jalen Hurts now. We're not talking about anybody else. The Saquon Barkley news is a positive story. Yeah, right. That's how quickly the emotional waves can move, and that's also why, as an athlete, you got to not pay attention to them.
Sure, absolutely. But yeah, the Cowboys. You mentioned the Cowboys play the Niners next week in prime time.
It's a big game for both teams.
That whoever loses that game, their season might be over.
If you lose that game, you are chasing hardcore at that point.
Well, because at that point, if you Cowboys lose their 3-4, Niners lose their 3-5. Right. So that's a big game for both teams. Giants are in prime time Monday Night Football against the Steelers. They'll lose that.
Well, I'm looking ahead here. Like, the Eagles have the Bengals and the Jags. So they're both, the Bengals are
winnable games. Bengals are surging. Bengals have won a couple.
I was going to say the Bengals is an interesting game. That could go either way. The Jaguars, we should win that game. And then you have the Cowboys and the Commanders. So, like, I don't like to say things like, "Oh, the division will be decided that weekend."
I mean, but it'll go a long way to that.
It could go a long way. If the Eagles beat the Cowboys and the Commanders, they're in control.
Yeah.
But probably by a couple games at that point.
Yeah. And a big matchup next week also, Commanders-Bears. Both teams over 500. Bears 4-2, Commanders 5-2.
So again, to answer your question, the Eagles have the favorable schedule here over the next few weeks.
Yeah.
All right. So, and again, even with the Cowboys in there, they are positioned over the next 4 weeks to take a command over the NFC East if they want to.
Yeah.
We're about to find out how good the Eagles are.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This is going to go a long way to see. Yeah, are you for real or are you not?
Yeah, so, I cannot tell you that right now. I'm not going to base our win over the Giants. It's like we're for real. Like, no, we gotta beat a real team. I just turned into Chris Collinsworth there for a minute.
Yeah,
here's a guy that runs. He puts his team first. Here's a guy.
Oh boy, think about another guy who should just retire already, please.
Here's a guy that does a podcast.
Yeah.
Mike Wazowski. I just turned it
A little bit.
Mike Wazowski.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh goodness. Yeah, but yeah, so a lot going on with the NFL. The coming weeks are going to be really, really interesting. Just want to also briefly mention, of course, that Daniel Jones has the worst primetime record in the history of football, and he'll be in the primetime game this week, so they'll definitely probably lose that. Tommy DeVito has as many wins in primetime as Daniel Jones does.
When he's off the Giants, I can't wait to see who the first Giants executive is that comes out and said, well, we did everything we could. We did everything we could to give him a chance. And everyone's going to be like, you should never have given him the chance.
You should never have given that many chances.
That's your job, is not to do that.
Anyway.
Or he'll go somewhere and win a Super Bowl.
Highly unlikely. On the bench. He'll be on the bench.
He'll be on the bench as the third string.
Right.
Maybe he can go to the Arena League. Come back.
There you go.
He'll move the ball quicker.
Yeah. He'll have to. Anyway. Moving over to college now, real quick. Another interesting week in college football. Army and Navy both stay undefeated as they continue to climb the ranks. Navy defeats Charlotte. Army defeats East Carolina. Notre Dame wins. Texas A&M. A lot of the ranked teams, a lot of the teams that were supposed to win this week did win. But there were two games that they're technically upsets. But when a 5 beats a 1, when an 11 beats a 7, you kind of like, okay, you can see that happening.
That's good football. Yeah.
Yeah.
It means the rankings are correct. That's what it means.
Yes. But Tennessee beating Alabama and Georgia knocking off number 1 Texas. Georgia really bouncing back, reminding people, hey, we're still a powerhouse here.
Yeah.
We're still for real. So it's going to be interesting to see what the rankings are in the next coming weeks.
Let's see what they are right now because they're out right now.
Oregon has moved up to 1 as I think the last undefeated team remaining of those powerhouse teams. BYU's also undefeated. They've moved up into the top 12 now, which is a big deal.
Georgia correctly moves up to 2, like you said. But Penn State just hanging out.
Yeah.
Number 3.
Just hanging out. Pebble Pitt 6-0.
Right.
Number 19 now. So
yeah, you got a lot of interesting things going on here in this ranking process. But I'll say it again that the Penn State's just sitting there, man. If Oregon or UGA loses, they might just pop up to the top.
Yeah.
And that's an amazing story with Penn State. Again, when you think about what happened there 10 years ago, and they are in a prime position right now. God bless them.
They become a powerhouse again.
Yeah, and I'm going to say it again, but God bless the team because the players had nothing to do with what is one of the worst scandals in the history of professional sports. Period. It is professional sports.
Yeah.
But they tried to destroy that program, and they refused. And again, Penn State plays Ohio State coming up. That's their last ranked game as of now.
Mm-hmm.
That might put them over the top if they keep winning here.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? You got to just keep winning. Just got to keep winning. But even if they do lose a game with the new playoff system, they should be well on their way.
Yeah, they'll be there. They're going to have their shot.
Speaking of having their shot, speaking of the playoff system, things are changing. We're going to move over to WNBA now. The WNBA season has come to a close, and the New York Liberty have finally won their first title. It's their 6th attempt. It went down to a Game 5 overtime thriller. The Lynx had a chance to win it there in the last shot of the game in regulation, but the Liberty holds strong. That Game 1 collapse almost haunted them, but the fact that they were able to kind of almost like exercise that demon with a Game 5 overtime win. Just amazing. Congratulations to all the ladies. It was a great scene.
It was awesome.
The garden was mobbed. It was
awesome.
Yeah, it was really fantastic. And again, this is a franchise that obviously
it's been around, man. Like people forget this.
They're one of the original franchise. They're one of the original franchises. They were in the first WNBA final, and again, they were 0-5 all time. They finally got over the hump.
We do have to talk about this controversial ending real quick.
There was the Minnesota Lynx coach was adamant that the refs cost them this game and this series. Lee, what are your thoughts? A, on the coach call, like saying that and then blaming it all on the refs, and then B, on the call, it calls itself.
Yeah, look, let me start out by saying it was a weak call. I do agree with those sentiments that was a weak foul. Okay. You cannot let your emotions in a press conference come out like that. It's bad for the league. It's bad for your team. It's bad for the players. The truth is this. that was an incredibly hard-fought game by both teams. You did not win because you did not put up more points than the Liberty. Yeah. That's why you didn't win. And you had 4 quarters and an overtime to do it. Again, refs affect moments in a game.
Yeah.
But they do not finish the game. If the reffing is bad, be better. The way it was said was they stole it. They wanted New York to win. They didn't want us to win.
That's BS.
I know that's BS because Caitlin Clark would have won if that was the case.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I feel for that coach in that moment. I've had that happen. It hurts, Ray, tremendously. Yeah. You can't say that out there. And again, I don't want to.
Well, and you threaten the integrity of the game when you
say you don't hear
like
this
that.
in other sports. It's nothing to do with her being a woman or anything like that. But it's like you can't do that. Like, again, look, when the Eagles lost the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, and we had every right to talk about field conditions and bad calls or calls we didn't agree with. Players didn't do that. They didn't. Coaches didn't do that. The game ended. It's like you got to be careful. You don't want to get that tag on yourself that you're a whiner. I'm going to say it one more time. I understand the frustration. I do. It was a weak call. Yep. Weak call. All right. But it was a call nonetheless. And it's like, look, I remember when I lived in Europe, Ray, in hockey, we're used to in tight games or big games in America, the refs kind of let you play.
Yeah.
Right. It's got to be brutally obvious to make the call. Yeah. But they're going to let you play. A little tap on the arm, an accidental trip is not going to get called most of the time. In Europe, dude, they call everything all the time. They will call you on a breakaway with 1 minute left if you do something wrong. Right. I wasn't used to that. And it's like, but I can't blame them. Like, that's how they officiate.
Right.
So, I don't know. I feel for that coach, but you can't come out on a press conference and say that. And then the New York Liberty coach was great. Just like, okay, we just won the championship.
Yeah.
And we worked our asses off. And I'm not going to let our season come down to one call.
Yeah.
That was or wasn't made. Yeah. They did deserve it.
Oh, I mean,
so congrats to the Liberty.
Yes. Go New York. Go New York. Go. All right.
You seem excited, Ray. You seem excited.
I mean, look, I'm
teasing you. You are excited.
Yeah. Like, I mean, this is great.
You New York jerks. You get gifted a WNBA title. I got the World Series. Got the Knicks coming up. The Rangers.
There's a lot going on, right?
So much going on in New York.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of the Knicks, the NBA season kicks off tonight with Knicks and Celtics.
No, tonight's the Frozen Frenzy. There's all 32 NHL teams are playing tonight. That's the big news on Action News tonight.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, the Rangers are playing against the Canadiens, which is great. The Rangers, by the way, 4-0-1. Rangers looking great.
Flyers undefeated at Madison Square Garden this season.
You haven't played there yet.
Undefeated. Anyway, real quick before we get into basketball, the NHL doing something very interesting tonight, Ray. I don't think you have actually noticed this. So they're doing the Frozen Frenzy tonight. So all 32 teams are in action.
Yes.
Every game starts 15 minutes after the previous game. So they have staggers started. This is unique. They have staggers started the entire schedule. So no games will start at the same time. And it's like the Flyers start at 6. There's a 6:15, 6:30, 6:45. I'm just very interested to see how this is going to work. Because again, Frozen Frenzy is, for those you don't know, is kind of like the NFL Red Zone, right? Like they're able to track all the games and do that. But with the stagger start, there should be no time tonight where there's hockey not being played. So
pretty much from like 7 to like 2 in the morning or whatever.
Right. So when anybody's in intermission, there will always be hockey on. So from 6 till 1 a.m. Eastern, there's going to be hockey on straight. So 17-year-old me is like, yeah. And 40-year-old me is like, man, my arm hurts. I'm going to go to bed now. But I thought that was interesting. You got to give the NHL credit, my friends. They are not afraid to try stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, Rangers kick off 7:15. Knicks tip off 7:30. So Knicks and Rangers fans you got to get the dual screens working. So
yeah. Now I'm just gonna do real quick our NBA preview. Real simple. Boston, New York, Philadelphia will make it to the finals, and in the West, Denver.
The
same 3 teams every year.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the Lakers are old, right? I think the Lakers window is closing, if
The
not
Lakers
closed.
story is LeBron and
Is
his
LeBron
kid.
playing
Yeah,
with his
yeah.
kid? Yeah, the
Yeah, which
Lakers
is a
aren't gonna
beautiful
do.
story, to be fair.
Yes,
All right?
it is. I was talking when I had a comedy show on Sunday night, and I was talking with a dude. One of the comedians was wearing a Grizzlies jersey. I'm like, oh, are you Grizzlies fans? He's like, no, I'm a John Morant fan. And I'm like, all right, that's fair. I'm like, but he's like, I'm actually a Laker fan. I'm like, oh, that bothers. By the way, that bothers me that you're a fan of one team, but you're wearing the jersey of a player for another team. That bothers me.
Yeah, I can't do. I can't
do that.
very, very, very rarely worn any jersey aside from my own city. And usually it's for some promotional thing. Like I wore an Avs jersey once because I bought it for like a giveaway.
Sure.
But it's like, I did wear a Devils captaincy jersey once, but it's because I was in a commercial for the Devils. So I think I get a free pass on that one.
Absolutely.
Right.
And we've worn different jerseys from when we did, particularly you, we did the Elimination Cafe and things like that.
Oh,
for
yeah.
For bits and things, that's different. But like just in public, just to kind of go out. Like I have fictional jerseys. I have my Star Wars hockey jersey. I have my Super Mario baseball jersey.
Those are all fair game. Like I think that, I don't think I've even ever worn a Gretzky jersey, and that's saying something.
Yeah. No, exactly. It's Ranger jerseys or bust, basically, for hockey, and obviously Yankees, Giants, Rangers, Knicks.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, But anyway, I was talking to him, and like even he's like, he's like, we're getting old, and like the windows are closing, and I was like, yeah, dude, I don't think the Lakers are going anywhere. I think the Clippers are going to get a shot in the arm because of their new stadium, but with losing Paul George, 2-year 76ers, I don't think they're going anywhere. Denver in the West is the team to beat, especially with all the moves and trades and everything that's been happening. With in the offseason. But like you said, it's Boston, it's the Knicks, it's the 76ers in the East. And who I'm hoping, I think with the moves the Knicks have made, I'm thinking the Knicks could make a run.
Oh, you could.
Who knows what's going to happen?
I wouldn't even say it like that, right? It's like you should make a run.
They should make a run.
Yeah. Sixers. Yeah. It's Sixers, Knicks, Boston. This is basketball, my friends. It's like, every once in a while you might get an outline.
Spurs are going to be better with that team's getting better, obviously, with I can't think of his name, Wemba. He's getting better, obviously. Oklahoma City's has a year of experience under their belt. That's a really well-built team, right? Like, it's the same teams, though, basically.
Every year. That's your NBA preview.
No, I mean, again, as a Knicks fan, I follow the Knicks. I'm super excited about the Knicks.
Yeah.
Karl Anthony Towns. You know what he did, Lee, to get everybody everybody getting ready for the season? He bought every Knick player and coach a Nintendo Switch for them to all play together on the plane right up to Boston and the plane going everywhere else as they travel.
Sounds like something I would do.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. He was like Santa Claus. He had a big old bag full of switches and he passed them around.
Big old bag full of switches. I like it. Ray, let's just go through the 4 major sports. Here's going to be a micro moment for geeks who like sports.
Okay.
I'm going to name a sport, and you say to me, I can watch any game or I can only watch my team. Okay. I think you and I will go back and forth on this. It'll be a little different.
Sure.
Okay. Baseball.
Yeah. Any game.
Yeah. I can watch the Phillies or the postseason.
Fair.
Can't watch any. I can't mid-season. I'm not going to watch the Braves play the Mets. I don't care.
Right. No, I can watch any game.
Okay.
Any game baseball.
Football.
Any game.
Any game. All year. That's what makes football the greatest American sport is that any game. Any game. Like, because let's be honest, you're not going to watch the White Sox play whoever.
No, there was a couple times this year I watched
the White Sox. Ray true to his word. I tried to get you there. It didn't work. All right. Yeah. I'm going to send you a Switch for Christmas. All right.
I already have a Switch.
NHL.
I can watch any game.
Me too. Yeah, I mean that's a little different for me, but yeah, I can watch any NHL game. I can watch any hockey game. To be honest with you, it doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah, and it's got to be NHL for me. I'm not going to watch an OHL game.
Right. Now, whereas I would, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, and then NBA.
Knicks in postseason.
Really?
I can't watch. I'm sorry. I just don't care. I care about the Knicks. With basketball, I don't know. It's just I care about the Knicks.
Yeah.
I really don't care that much about the rest.
Yeah, I'm the same way with the Sixers. I mean, sometimes if there's a big game and like I'm with some friends, I might put that on.
Absolutely.
And then this is what's funny. I think I've watched more WNBA games with or without Caitlin Clark this season than I will NBA games. Because I kind of got into that league a little bit this year. I'm saying I wouldn't say I can watch any WNBA game,
Sure.
But I was getting interested in that. And then
I
same thing with
definitely watched more this year than in previous years. Absolutely.
Okay, so now here's going to be a question for both of us, and I'll go first to just give you an idea. I think I will watch more PWHL, Professional Women's Hockey League games this season than NBA games. What is your equivalent for that?
I disagree with that. I will watch more NBA games.
No, I know you will. I'm talking about me. I will watch more PWHL games than
that's
NBA
fair.
games.
I think that's fair because again, you can watch any hockey
Yes.
at any moment without with no hesitation.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I definitely think that that's a fair statement for you.
Yeah, I don't know if there's an equivalent for you.
No, I mean,
did you watch the Liberty Championship?
I was super big. Sunday I was doing
comedy.
Oh,
you were on
comedy
stage.
club.
Yes,
yeah,
you were.
I was on stage. Yeah, I by the way, not to do my own horn, but I killed
you definitely did. I know that you did.
Yeah, so my new material, working new material, and the new material
really
went over well.
We all know how this is going to go. You're going to get down to almost rock bottom, and something's going to spark. You're going to become this major comedic sensation across the country. You're going to do a lot of movies. You're going to lose your way. You're going to get into drugs. You're going to get out of the drugs. You're going to shave your head. You're going to come back. You and I will have a falling out for 48 hours. We'll come back together, and then it ends with me watching you on stage, very happy, and then the credits cue and the music plays, and that's the end of the story.
Wonderful. By the way, my next appearance, November 15th at the Comedy Chateau in North Hollywood. So,
the name of that film is Be a Winner, Loser.
We'll work on the title.
I thought that was pretty good. There's a comma there. Anyway, keep going. I think we're ready to transition.
Yeah, no. Well, that's why I was told we were talking about the switches with the Knicks.
The switches. I'm gonna get you a switch for Halloween.
I already have a switch.
I'm gonna get you the new switch that no one has.
That probably about another 6 months. But I talked about this. I really excited. Oh, by the way, really quick, need to put it out there. The EGM Kickstarter hit. We talked about this last week, and again, just because my history as a reviews editor. So before we get into the reviews, we hit every stretch goal in 48 hours. Every stretch goal.
It's amazing, and you ignored one text.
Did I?
Oh yeah.
I don't remember.
Exactly.
You know what it is? Sometimes folks text me when I'm sleeping, and I look at, I hear it, I look at it, and I go, and I forget about it because
I'll allow it to pass. Maybe I'll send the text again.
Something I think I remember the text. I think I remember the text.
It's okay. Anyway, it's amazing.
About audiences and things like that. I remember the text now. Yes, because you texted me at 9 a.m. on a Saturday, and I was just like.
Yes, and at 9 a.m. on Saturday, I've been up for 4 hours. That's not your fault. That's my fault. I don't appreciate it. I don't want to be up for 4 hours, but I am. And then I come home and take a nap. It's another long story about being old. But listen, it's amazing that you hit every stretch goal. And it's obviously because our producer, Savi, put our episode out so quickly that many people donated. So the compendiums for everyone that listens to this show.
I will say the EGM crew did notice that we talked about it, and they were very appreciative.
Did they really? Well, that's special. And I'll tell you this too, Ray. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was shocked. I was not expecting that to hit that way, but that shows you the loyal audience that you had. And you said it wasn't a lot of huge gifts. It was a lot of little gifts that put that together, right? Yeah. So what am I gonna get now?
I think you're gonna get the compendium. You're gonna get like all the bookmarks, and all the book itself is gonna get bigger. And we're gonna get an extra. You're gonna get a bonus issue. We're gonna get together next year.
You actually have to write a new issue. Yeah,
we're gonna write a whole new the last dance, the last ride.
Which you didn't get, if I'm not mistaken, right? You didn't really get that at the end, right?
We didn't get like a goodbye issue. No.
Yeah, interesting.
So this is our goodbye. This is our series finale that we never really got. So, but yeah, it'll be special. That'll as those details emerge and coalesce. They need to finish the compendium first.
How big is that going to be?
The compendium?
Yeah,
I think it's going to be at least like this big.
I mean, yeah, it's going to be massive.
It's going to be big. It's going to be big. So maybe a little smaller now because now they're doing bigger paper, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's going to shipping is going to be fun.
We're taking care of all the shipping to US and Canada. If you're overseas, you got to pay for that.
Losers.
Yeah, sorry, we're not covering overseas shipping. But anyway, back into video game reviews. Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom came out a few weeks ago. I am one of the biggest Legend of Zelda fans
you are
out there.
Agreed.
And I was very, very excited for this game. It's the first game where you play as Zelda. It's in the same style as the remake of Link's Awakening that came out a few years ago, kind of a cartoony effort. It doesn't necessarily take place in the same timeline as Link to the Past, even though very much the world is set up similarly. The Eastern Temple, like the desert, a lot of different things that are the outlay of the land in the world is very similar. If you played Link to the Past, if you played Link Between Worlds, if you played those games, you'll know where everything is.
The map will be familiar, yeah.
Yeah. The mystical desert now, of course, is called the Gerudo Desert because, like, obviously Zelda history has changed, so obviously certain things have been like updated to keep up with that. But it's really fun. It's really fun. They took a lot of the elements of the open-endedness of how you could solve puzzles in Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. They put a couple more rules on it with what Zelda can do, but it also combines the old school aspects of here are some big dungeons, some fun puzzles, and you have an ice dungeon, you have a water dungeon, you have like the desert dungeon, you have all this stuff, half a dozen dungeons, big bad at the end. Lee, I really enjoyed this game. It's not my favorite Zelda, but I would put this ahead of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom.
Wow, that's high praise right now.
I
haven't had a chance to play it yet. I kind of want to get it and play it with my son and daughter.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say it's shorter than Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, right? Like, again, it's in that Link to the Past style world, so it's not as big.
How many hours do you think?
I think I beat it in 10 to 15 hours.
That's a solid game. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was absolutely worth the price for what I got for. And there's so much stuff to explore, but it was obviously, for those of you who don't know, Link has been swallowed up by this dark void. The game starts with Link beating Ganon and then getting swallowed up by this dark void. Zelda being freed and basically has to find Link and cleanse the land of this darkness. And what she can do is she has a special wand that allows her to mimic not only things, but also creatures in the environment. And by the way, that's also really cool. Like when you start getting the more powerful creatures later in the game, and suddenly you have a mob of moblins on your side. But also, and this is a minor thing, you also can absorb the abilities of Link. So for a time period, you can charge up and kind of have the spirit of Link inside you. So you can use a sword and a bow and arrow and bombs if necessary, but there's a timer on it that you can upgrade over the course of the game. And it was just really, really fun to figure out, when am I going to use my Link abilities? When am I going to use the mimicry? How am I going to like power up Zelda? There's so much open-endedness to how you could play this. And I just really fell in love with it. It's just charming and fun, but with enough enough parameters, more than Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, to be like, okay, these are the rules, and this is how I'm going to figure everything out. And it was just really, really nice. And I don't know if it's my game of the year. I think it's gonna probably be a top 5 game of the year.
It's still high praise.
Right now, I'm going to put it as a top 5 game of the year and a top 6 all-time Zelda game, because I won't put it ahead of Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, Link Between Worlds, Link to the Past, and Ocarina. But I think it's right there. I think it's number 6.
Right, that's high praise from you. I mean, considering how many games have come out.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little couple of things at the end that kind of irked me that I'm not going to get into. I'm not going to spoiler here, but like, I mean, I'm trying to think of it. If I had to slap a score on it, it's definitely in the high 8 range, right? Like I would even go maybe as high as a 9, but at least an 8.5.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, that's worth the money.
Absolutely. Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. If you're a Zelda fan and you haven't played this, what's wrong with you? Go buy this game. Well,
I'm excited, Ray. My son's going to be Link for Halloween this year, so I can't wait to share that picture with you.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome. I think he'll really enjoy this, and I think I think they do a great job of making Zelda feel very, very different from Link. Even Aside from the times when she actually channels his spirit.
Yeah, well, I think that was the goal with the game, right?
Yeah.
It's about time she got her own game. Hopefully, this is the start of more.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I expand upon the Hyrule Compendium, right? So, yeah. So that was a lot of fun. Nintendo kicking butt as usual, ready to go, heading into the holidays.
Motor in.
Yeah, get ready for Switch 2 soon. We know it's coming. We just don't know when.
Yeah, when they feel like it.
Yeah.
Because they know you will buy it.
Right. Yeah, pretty much. Nintendo can just sit back and be like, we'll do it when we do it. Right now, they're doing with all their lawsuits as they're suing all of these people for copyright infringement, and rightfully so, by the way. Moving on, Microsoft had themselves a pretty solid week. They announced a whole bunch of new games for the first half of 2025, including FBC Firebreak from Remedy. Remedy, it is their first multiplayer-only game. Of course, they've done Alan Wake. They did Quantum Break. They've done a lot of single-player narratives. The original Max Payne's and whatnot from Sam Lake and whatnot. And FBC Firebreak takes place in the world of Control / Alan Wake, because we know that's a shared universe now. FBC standing for the Federal Bureau of Control. And yet it's basically you're going to play, it looks like three PvE, 3-player co-op against the environment, which is the ensuing chaos that comes in from the Control. If you haven't played Control, which is my game of the year, I think 5 years ago. Control was phenomenal. Can't wait for that sequel, which is in development. But yeah, Microsoft showed off a lot of fun stuff. Gave some more solid release windows for some games. But for me, FBC Firebreak was probably the highlight. But it was a little bit of everything for everybody on that show last week. For their third-party developers. So good on Microsoft to be like, oh yeah, hey, more games are coming. More games are coming.
They're just taking control of their element here, as we've talked about for years.
I mean, especially, hey, don't forget Call of Duty releases this week on Game Pass. Game Pass! It's on Game Pass. My God, Call of Duty on Game Pass. Black Ops 6. Cannot wait. It's taking place during I think it's taking place during, not the Cold War. The last one was the Cold War. During Desert Storm. I do believe. So, yeah, that should be a lot of fun. So, as Microsoft does well, Sony sucks. Spider-Man 2, it sounds like all the story DLC that had been planned, Carnage DLC, Beetle DLC, and a tie-in into the multiverse, into the Spider-Verse DLC, because obviously we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, the final chapter in that with Miles Morales, the film, has been delayed until at least 2027, and I wonder if because this was supposed to tie into that, if that's why this DLC got canceled, because now all this story beat that they were going to have tie into that, Insomniac's like, we don't know what's going to happen now. So we can't have our story not make sense if they're going to change things in this film. So they just pulled the plug on everything. So thanks, Sony, for screwing that up, because I really wanted another game with Carnage in it. So yeah, I'm a little miffed over the fact that Spider-Man 2 canceled. Look, I mean, I get it for Insomniac, but this feels like a Sony. This feels like Sony started the dominoes at the top, and that this is just part of the fallout of that.
Well, what's amazing about it, Ray, is if I'm not mistaken, this is their top grossing game, correct?
Yes.
So you can't screw this one up, but you did, and that's the thing that's amazing to me is this is a money maker for you. You don't have many, and you're screwing this part of it up. Yeah. That does not make a lot of sense. I did think I saw that they were saying that they're going to release this on PC now. Yeah. Spider-Man. So that's their big, but you can play it on PC. Well, if you have the game already, guys, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Dumb.
Yeah. Sony, very slow to release their games on PC because they don't want to give Microsoft anything.
Right. Well, Microsoft already has everything.
Yeah. So, no, I was really saddened by this news.
Yeah, I don't know how you screw this up. This is a game you can't mess up, and they messed it up.
Yeah, so a year to the day almost from the release of the game, they announced, that's it, enjoy the game. No more no DLC. So, speaking of things being shut down, Netflix shut down their Team Blue, which is their SoCal AAA gaming studio, before they even made anything. They had poached talent from like Halo and all across the industry, Activision and all this other stuff. And after 2 years of not really being able to get going, oh, excuse me, they're gone. Just like that sneeze, they're just gone. They're in the wind. They're just out there. So the gaming industry really continuing to struggle as it just continues to lose more and more and more jobs, and they're not coming back, folks. But this was a little surprising because I guess Netflix is just, they're trying to figure it out, but it feels like what happened with Amazon, where they're throwing too much stuff at the wall and nothing is sticking. And they need to have, I don't know who's in charge of their gaming division, but they need to have more of a plan. This clearly is like, you don't have a plan. Just throwing money at stuff is not a plan.
It's not a plan.
It is a plan, but it's not a good plan.
And I think that they're looking more at the live sports with the WWE coming in as their cash cow.
Yeah.
And again, gaming continues to swallow itself alive right now.
Yeah.
There will be a time, but it's like, I think what Netflix is doing is, do we need to be leading in this realm, or do we need to pick up in this realm after it's been established? I mean, again, look, Ray, when you look at first to the race and a lot of these things, remember Google had their own gaming thing completely collapse.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to kind of be like Apple. What they used to do is, don't be first, be the best.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody says, well, you're not first or last, or there's a power to being first. There's a power to being the best. iPhone was not the first smartphone. Nintendo was not the first video game group.
Right.
Okay. Like Netflix wasn't the first streaming service.
Yeah.
They just did it the best. Right. So it's one of those things of like, maybe just back off and wait till this thing figures itself out and then come back into it when you need to. I think it's more likely that what Netflix will do is not create games, but it'll be like what Microsoft is doing with Game Pass, part of your subscription. Maybe that's where Sony ends up.
Yeah, I mean, Sony's kind of got their subscription as well. The problem is they don't not put any.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if that's up for sale right now, quietly. And watch out, maybe you see Netflix buy that studio and turn that into their thing. That would make more business sense to me. Remember, I said that when it happens.
Yeah, no, for sure. Also, just really quick, going back to FBC Firebreak, something interesting about that is going to be one of the first third-party games that is going to be on both the PlayStation Plus subscription service and Game Pass day one. And I think it's partially because a lot of people are seeing a lot of these multiplayer games are floundering and dying super quickly. Concord, Sony just absolutely crapped the bed with that. They pulled the plug on it after 2 weeks because it had no install base. If you have crossplay and you're just giving it away or at least seeing it available day one on both systems, you have a chance of obviously having a larger install base. And for a multiplayer game, you need players.
Yep.
That's why it's called multiplayer. So that's a smart move from them there. Good on them to be like, yeah, let's just have try and get as big an install base as possible. It's very hard to do multiplayer games exclusively nowadays on a single console. Again, just look at another recent screw up from Sony. So, anyway, we talked about streaming services there with Netflix. Speaking of streaming services, we're going from Netflix to Disney Plus. We're wrapping things up with The Witch's Road, Agatha. God, I love Catherine Hahn, even though she wasn't in a lot of this episode. This was the episode explaining how Billy got reincarnated. And
very comic accurate, by the way.
Very comically, where Billy gets reincarnated, and just so smart, where you have Billy Kaplan, who again was a character in the comics, and then Billy Maximoff, as the spell is breaking, one dies, the spirit comes and inhabits the body of the other. It just
brilliant. It was brilliant.
And it worked in the other witches where he briefly interacts with them. We see all of them in different ways. We see how the sigil doesn't come from Wanda. It comes from Lilia, the premonitions lady, the psychic, and our chance meeting with him. I love it. Because again, it just shows because again, the idea is that all the witches, they have a habit of kind of flocking together in the general vicinity, even though they may not realize it. And from the very beginning, Billy Kaplan is touched by the witches so that Billy Maximoff can live. God, they did this so well. I really loved Joe Locke's acting in all of this was phenomenal.
Yeah,
and then
it was
again,
well done.
and then when Catherine Hahn comes back, because you knew it's her show. We don't know about the other witches; they might be dead. But
Well, where's Rio? Like, dude, she's been missing. Like, she was missing from the ending of the previous episode.
yeah,
we don't know where she went.
I'm sure she'll come back. She may actually even in the next episode see the other witches as the Green Witch, because again, much as as Agatha pulled herself out of the muck,
yeah,
right, that she did not die, although now she's all like dirt encrusted and stuff. I don't know if the other witches are dead, but yeah, Billy and Agatha and probably Rio, they're all walking the witch's road now as we head into the last 3 episodes of the series or of the season. And God, I can't wait to see where it goes. So the interaction between Billy and Agatha at the end of the episode, where Agatha, you can see the machinations. You see that there's a part of her, the motherly part, that wants to teach Billy.
Right.
But there's also the Agatha part that wants to control Billy.
Yeah, it was brilliant acting across the board. I also have to say, Star Wars, that's how you do a flashback episode. We're probably not going to see it again.
No.
Right? So that's how that's done, just in case.
You fill in the blanks that we need.
Yes, and they did that effectively. You can't help but feel for the Billy character and his parents. They captured that beautifully.
Yes.
And it was a great lead in. Also, they didn't leave us hanging. The good last 12 minutes of that episode was the present moment with him and Agatha. You're always afraid these flashbacks end at like the end of the flashback, which leaves you feeling kind of horrible, right? It's like we didn't advance the story.
Yeah.
You get the flashback and you advance the story. Brilliantly done. So well done, Disney.
Last 10 minutes actually advances the story. This was the longest episode so far for the series. At 50
it was well done. So, it was really well done. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, God, I love this show.
Yeah, they figured it out. And again, it's enhancing WandaVision in the process, which we talked about years ago. Again, the way that they had the Westview thing collapsing, and so obviously, if you watch if you watched WandaVision, you know that Wanda kind of kisses her kids goodnight and then lets it collapse.
Right.
So Billy obviously reaches out at that moment to the other Billy who has just passed away tragically.
Yeah.
Right. It's well done.
Yeah. And we also know now that what Billy's really looking for is Tommy, his brother, which again goes back to the fact about what we've been talking about is that they're building the Young Avengers. This series now, in theory, should end with Tommy somehow being reincarnated.
Yep.
Which, by the way, we also get a Ralph Boner sighting. We get Quicksilver.
That's the only thing from WandaVision that still I never liked. They brought him in and they kind of teased us like he might be a crossover,
right?
Which he could still be, but and I'm saying they could have done that and they chose not to. And I think this cemented that he was never a crossover character.
Right.
It was just the actor. The other thing too is that I wonder how you're going to have Tommy come back. I wonder if it's going to be Billy's boyfriend that turns into Tommy or something like that. There's a lot of different ways you could do it.
Yep. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Or he could just exist. I mean, there's
it could just exist. It could be somebody else. You don't know. And that's really the question. But it makes so much sense now for, of course, Billy's motivation has never been power.
It's his brother. Yeah.
It's his brother. So, and by the way, I love how Agatha puts that together too at the end, where she's
brilliant.
She's like, is it Robo Dad? No, he's in pieces everywhere. Is it Mommy Dearest? No.
It's great.
Oh, it's your brother Toby. Tommy.
Yeah.
Tommy. Whatever.
I also love you have a tell. What is it? Unfortunate for you. That was a great line.
Oh my God, that's phenomenal.
I can't wait to unveil that.
Yeah. No, obviously, at some point, Agatha and Billy are going to come back into conflict. Probably, I wouldn't mind it if she does become he becomes her apprentice, but sort of in the comics, for those who don't realize, Wanda actually becomes apprentice to Agatha. They have less of an antagonistic relationship in the comics than they did in the MCU. But I think they're going to come into conflict, and I don't think Agatha's going to survive.
We know what Billy wants at the end of the road. We don't know what Agatha wants aside from her power, which she's getting back slowly. There is a small chance they bring back Wanda. There's a small chance. I wouldn't throw that out, right? But the idea is that she craves power, and at some point those two are going to have to fight.
Yeah.
Right. I think what's likely to happen is that they take away Agatha's ability to absorb power. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. No, it's going to be fascinating, but the show really two-thirds of the way through now. This is the, again, 3 episodes remain. One tomorrow, and then the last 2 next Wednesday.
Yeah.
The 30th, the day before Halloween. Cannot wait.
It's going to be good.
It is going to be good. But this was another good episode of Geeks Who Like Sports, buddy.
Yeah, always, buddy. I do enjoy doing this. I'm still feeling a little loopy, but I'm happy to be here with you. The room's kind of spinning.
Well, then maybe you just hold on. I'll land the plane. But yeah, that's been another episode of Geeks Who Like Sports, everybody. We really, really appreciate everybody who tuned in. For Lee, I'm Ray. As always, guys, comment, like, subscribe, share. Let us know what you think of the show. We always appreciate it. But until next time, this has been Geeks Who Like Sports. Good night, everybody. World Series!
Like, share, subscribe, and comment below. Who's going
Let's go, Yankees.